Hey everyone, it's your favorite gentleman, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. And today we are in for a treat. I have this phenomenal woman coming to the stage to help us work through some things, work through some pains. Above all those pains that we've experienced within our own lives, you, me, and she is here to help us. She teaches and coaches to this. And she is the expert of all experts coming to the Gentleman Style Podcast stage today. You won't want to miss 1 second of what this incredible lady has to say. Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I'm your host, Marcus of Gentleman Style Podcast. And today I have Dr. Debbie Silber. She is the founder of the Betrayal Transformation Institute and is a holistic psychologist, a health and mindset and personal development expert, and the author of the #1 best-selling book, Unshakable Woman. 4 steps to rebuilding your body, mind, and life after a life crisis, and her newest book, Trust Again. Her recent PhD study on how we experience betrayal made 3 groundbreaking discoveries that change how long it takes to heal. And we are going to talk about that here on the Gentleman Style Podcast stage. So help me give this woman a round of applause, Dr. Debbie Silber. Welcome, Doctor. Glad to have you on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. How are you?
Great. Thank you so much for having me. I realized that was an old bio. My newest book is From Hardened to Healed. So we'll talk all about it if you want.
Please. We will. We need to, because we need to do better. There's a lot of brokenness, and there are some actually who may not be able to afford counseling or physical therapy, but we can budget and read a book and get the same level of experience and start the healing process. And you teach to this, you coach to this, you mentor to this. But I got to ask a question. What got you started on the path to talking about and helping others heal? Because you have an incredible mind and you can do anything you want. Why healing? Why the subject of healing?
Well, it's healing specifically from betrayal, from the betrayal of a family member, partner, friend, coworker, self. You don't study something like betrayal because you like the topic. You study because you have to. And it's actually my 30th year in business. And as life would change, well, so would business. And I started in health and then mindset and then personal development, had a really painful betrayal from my family. Thought I did everything I needed to do to heal from that. And then a few years later, it happened again. This time it was my husband. So anybody who's been through it, you're shocked, you're blindsided, you're like, what happened? Life will never be the same. So I looked at the 2 experiences, and that was the deal breaker. So got him out of the house. And I realized, boundaries are always getting crossed. I never really took my needs seriously. And I'm really one of those believers that if nothing changes, nothing changes. So I said, you know what? Here I am. I have 4 kids, 6 dogs, a thriving practice. I'm going back for a PhD. And I didn't know how I was going to pay for it. I didn't know how I was going to manage the time. It was in transpersonal psychology, the psychology of transformation and human potential, because I was changing so much. I didn't quite understand what was happening. He was too on his own, wasn't ready to look at that. And then it was time to do a study. So I studied betrayal. What holds us back? What helps us heal? And what happens to us physically, mentally, and emotionally when the people closest to us lie, cheat, and deceive? Marcus, that study, I had no idea was going to happen, led to 3 groundbreaking discoveries, which changed my health, my family, my work, my life.
That is huge. And that's something that's not talked about enough, because some people move on faster than they should. They transition faster than they should, and they don't really take the time to learn about themselves. And so can you talk about those 3 tips, because you coach them, you mentor? Can you share any of those tips?
Yeah, I have a whole institute. Yeah, I have a whole institute that helps people move through betrayal, the PBT Institute, and we have our certified coaches helping people do that all day long. So the 3 discoveries, the first was, betrayal is a very different type of crisis than death of a loved one, disease, natural disaster. And I had been through death of a loved one and disease. And I was like, betrayal feels different. I didn't want to assume it was the same for everybody. So I asked my study participants and I said, if you've been through other traumas besides betrayal, does it feel different for you? Unanimously, they said, oh my gosh, it's so different. And here's why. Because it feels so intentional, we take it so personally. So the entire self is shattered and has to be rebuilt. Think about it. Rejection, abandonment, belonging, confidence, worthiness, trust. When you lose someone you trust, lose someone you love, you don't necessarily like lose your ability to trust. You don't feel rejected. You see what I mean? But with betrayal, there's such a shattering of the self. So that type of healing needed its own name, which is now called post-betrayal transformation. That was the first discovery. You want me to go into the second one?
Please.
Okay. So the second one was that there's actually this collection of symptoms, physical, mental, and emotional, so common to betrayal, it's now known as post-betrayal syndrome. And on our site, we have the post-betrayal syndrome quiz to see to what extent someone's struggling. We've had easily 70,000 plus people take the quiz, men, women, just about every country's represented. The first thing about that quiz, we've all been taught time heals all wounds. I have the proof that when it comes to betrayal, that's not true, because there's a question that says, is there anything else you'd like to share? And people write things like, my betrayal happened 40 years ago and I can still feel the hate. My betrayal happened 35 years ago and I'm unwilling to trust. So we know you cannot count on time. You cannot count on a new relationship to heal betrayal. It will follow you around like a shadow, and I can spot an unhealed betrayal a mile away. So every so often I pull the stats from the quiz to see where people land. Do you want me to share them?
Yes, please.
Okay, because it'd be really awkward and uncomfortable right there if you said no. All right. So now imagine men, women, 70,000 plus people. Okay. 78% constantly revisit their experience. 81% feel a loss of personal power. 80% are hypervigilant. That's exhausting. 94% deal with painful triggers. These are the most common physical symptoms. 71% have low energy. 68% have sleep issues. 63% have extreme fatigue. 47% have weight changes. In the beginning, maybe you can't hold food down. Later on, you're using food for comfort. 45% have a digestive issue, and that's anything. Crohn's, IBS, diverticulitis, constipation, diarrhea, whatever, anything. The most common mental symptoms. 78% are overwhelmed. 70% are walking around in a state of disbelief. 68% can't focus. 64% are in shock. 62% can't concentrate. Now imagine you can't concentrate. You have a gut issue. You're exhausted. You still have to work. You still have to raise your kids. That's not even the emotional issues. Emotionally, 88% experience extreme sadness. 83% are really angry, really common. You can go during a day bouncing back and forth between those two emotions all day long. 82% feel hurt. 80% have anxiety. 79% are stressed, and just a few more. This next stat is why I wrote the book Trust Again, this one right here. 84% have an inability to trust. 67% prevent themselves from forming deep relationships because they're afraid of being hurt again. 82% find it hard to move forward. 90% want to move forward, but they don't know how.
Those are staggering statistics, and those are staggering numbers, because who would have thought those numbers would be that high? And so that's why you're here, to break those things down and to share those things, because we need to know, and we're not doing well. You just broke it down, how it affects our health, our attitude, and then you still have to go and face the everyday common problems of life. So you could almost say it's stacking to it. It's adding to it. And,
you know what's even worse? What's even worse about it, those stats I read, that's not necessarily from something that happened recently. This could be from something that happened when you were a kid. Your parent did something awful. Your boyfriend or girlfriend in high school. Now think about it. That person may not know, care, or even remember. And here we are, decades later, with the gut issues, with the anxiety, with the hypervigilance, with the sleep issues, with the inability to focus, because of what that person did all those decades ago. Because betrayal does not heal until and unless you deliberately and intentionally make the moves to heal it.
First thing I want to ask, what are some questions I can ask myself? Or if I see someone with these same symptoms, what are some things I can ask someone to say, hey, you may have a problem. You may have this issue. What are some good questions to ask?
Yeah, well, the first thing, and I want to get into the third discovery because you'll see exactly where this shows up. But just here's how you unheal betrayal. Ready? Because we see it in health and work and relationships. Like, for example, I'll see it in relationships in one of two ways. The first way is a repeat betrayal. A repeat betrayal that the faces change. You keep going boss to boss to boss, friend to friend to friend, partner to partner to partner. You say, what the heck? Is it me? Yes, it is. Not in that it's your fault, in that it's your opportunity. There is a profound lesson that you need to learn. You are lovable, worthy, deserving. You need better boundaries in place, whatever it is for you. Until and unless you get that, you're going to have opportunities in the form of people to show you, right? The other way we see it is, those people where they put the big wall up, they're like, nope, been there, done that. No one's getting near me again. We think it's coming from a place of strength. It's not. It's coming from fear. Classic sign of an unhealed betrayal. We see it at work. Someone wants that raise or promotion. They deserve it, but their confidence was shattered in the betrayal. So they don't have the confidence to ask, and they're bitter and resentful instead. And that's the energy they bring to work with them every day. Or they want to be a team player, collaborative partner, right? But the person they trusted the most proved untrustworthy. How do they trust that boss, that coworker, that partner? We see it in health. People go to the most well-meaning, amazing doctors, coaches, healers, therapists to manage a stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. At the root of it is an unhealed betrayal. Like, for example, I said 45% of everybody who's been betrayed has a gut issue. So you could go to the most amazing gut doctor on the planet, right? But if they don't know there's a betrayal there at the root, they're only hacking away at the leaves. They're not getting to the root. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. They're not addressing the core issue. So they're going to heavy medicate you. They're going to give you medication to deal with the surface level problem and never addresses the real problem, which could lead to it happening again long term.
Yeah, and I'm so glad you said that, because actually there were 3 groups in my study who did not heal. One of them was doing just that. They ran to the doctor who put them on a mood stabilizer, anti-anxiety medication, or they were numbing, avoiding, distracting, because this stuff is painful to feel or face, right? Now, it may have made the day a bit easier. They didn't heal. Another group, they just refused to, they had their story and they were sticking with it. That was their story. They didn't heal. The third group, I found this to be the most interesting. This was the group where the betrayer had very little consequences. So whether it was out of fear of breaking up a family, financial fear, fear of change, religious reasons, that was a big one. They did all they could to turn the other cheek, try to put it past them, try to, just get past it without really any consequences to the betrayer or themselves. I saw 2 things with this group. Number 1, a further deterioration of that relationship. And number 2, this group was the most physically sick. Your broken heart can't handle that. But people are so afraid of the death and destruction of the old. That's the only way you birth the new. And just to close the loop on my story, rebuilding is always a choice. Whether you rebuild yourself and move on. That's what I did with my family. It wasn't an option to heal with them. Or if the situation lends itself, if you're willing, if you want to, you rebuild something from the ground up new, not patching it up, from the ground up new with the person who hurt you. That's what I did with my husband. So it was 2 completely transformed people. Not long ago, we married each other again. New rings, new vows, new dress, and our 4 kids were our bridal party. And I can promise you, never in a billion years would I have done that if he wasn't completely different, and if I wasn't completely different too. But people are so afraid of that death and destruction of the old that you don't rebirth the new that way.
Wow, I had no idea that was going to be the healing, the restoration, and the rebirth. This is the phoenix, the rebirth of her marriage. Oh my gosh, I love that.
It wasn't the same. I'll tell you, this was not like renew our vows kind of thing. No. That was the deal breaker. Over, done. That was it. And I was like, all right, here, can you see my hands? I'm going to show you something. You'll never forget this. So people are, you're in a relationship and then there's a breakup and you're in so much pain. You're so devastated. You're like, I just want it to work out again. Or I just want to be in a new relationship. No. Because all you can do is get more of the same right here. Here's where you say, that's it. I am on this trajectory to just do this work. Now, here's what happens. When you're so committed to this person right here who betrayed you, and then you start doing the work, you know what you do? You sabotage yourself because you don't want to outgrow them. You keep doing this. You're like, I'm growing. This feels good, but you sabotage yourself. But you like it up here. So then at some point, you're like, well, why can't they do this? Because they're not ready. So the whole idea is if you're so committed to this person and you do the work, then you get this. Where they're like, ooh, what happened to you? And you're like, ooh, I'm not really interested in you. So the whole idea is you do this without any indication of what this person's going to do. Because here's what's going to happen. They may say, I better step up my game to meet the strength of this person. And if they don't, you just go your own way. At the very least, this is who you attract. See? But in my instance, what happened was I was like, all right, that's it. That's the deal breaker. I guess I'm a single mom now, raising all these kids, all these dogs, I have my business, this, that, whatever. And he was like, what the heck did I do? I just lost the only people, everything that mattered. And so on his own, he did this. So we met back up again here. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. That makes huge sense. And that's something that isn't talked about enough. Everyone is talking about the trajectory and the elevation moving up, but what we miss is our partner and the things that we're leaving behind. Mm-hmm. And so you oh my gosh, round of applause for Dr. Debbie Silber, y'all.
You want me to get to the third discovery?
We will after a short commercial break. We will be right back. Don't go anywhere, guys. Stay tuned. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Good day, podcast listeners. This is your boy, Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I wanted to let you guys know that we will be rolling out a new feature and adding a join sponsor button next to the subscriber button here at the bottom of your screen. Once you click the button, it will display 3 membership levels. Gentleman Gentry, which is our entry level, Duke Duchess, which is our season level, and the Emperor and Empress, which is our most sophisticated level, which you will receive unique perks and benefits at each differing level and gain access to our community tab. We will also be sharing polls, upcoming events, and interviews, as well as receive feedback from our sponsors directly. Your support helps me find new and exciting guests to bring to the stage live. Well, in order to get the higher end speakers, it requires, you guessed it, money. So thank you for tuning in to my channel. And if becoming a sponsor sounds good to you, then select the join button below and choose your desired sponsor level. Let's continue to grow and serve the future of generations of men and women to come. Love you guys. Bye.
Are you a local business looking to offer your customers easy access to cash without having to travel miles? We're here to help. At Norman Legacy Investments, we provide free ATMs with free installation that provide a suitable investment for your business. Even better, we offer you some profit sharing and handle everything from start to finish. Just reach out to us today to schedule a free consultation.
We have the incredible Dr. Debbie Silber. This is Gentleman Style Podcast Show. If you are just tuning in, you haven't missed it. She just spilled the profound tea on some of the traumas, some of the problems that we are experiencing. She was talking to me, y'all. I don't know about anybody else. She was talking to me, and she shared her story on going through the process of betrayal. And she's going to share here in a minute the 5 stages of betrayal, so you know what that looks like, and so you can learn from it. But she's also helping us recognize it not only in ourselves, but in others. and she teaches to this. Her and her team teach to this, coach to this, and she spoke to this. If you missed that, scroll back, go back and check her out. She is absolutely phenomenal. Doctor, help us. What are the stages that you talk to this? What are the 5 stages of the healing process and the betrayal process? What does that look like?
Yeah, this was the 3rd discovery. For me, this was the most exciting of the 3 discoveries. And what we learned was, while we can stay stuck for years, decades, a lifetime, and so many people do, if we're going to fully heal, and by fully heal, I mean those symptoms of post-betrayal syndrome, like I shared, to that whole rebuilt place of post-betrayal transformation, we're going to go through 5 now proven predictable stages. What's even more exciting about that is we know what happens physically, mentally, and emotionally at every stage, and we know what it takes to move from one stage to the next. Healing from betrayal is entirely predictable. There's a roadmap for it now. So that was thrilling when this one showed up. And I'm happy to share the 5 stages if you want to learn them.
Please.
So they're all mapped out in Trust Again. It's what we do within the PBT Institute. It's what all of our coaches are certified in. I'll give you sort of a boiled down version right here. So stage 1, this is like a setup stage. And if you can imagine 4 legs of a table, the 4 legs being physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. What I saw with everybody, me too, was this real heavy lean on the physical and the mental legs, right? And kind of neglecting the emotional and the spiritual. So it's like we're really good at physical, mental thinking and doing, and kind of neglecting the feeling and being emotional and spiritual. But imagine a table with only 2 legs. It's easy for that table to topple over. Well, that's us. Stage 2, shock, trauma, D-Day, discovery day, the scariest of all of the stages. And this is the breakdown of the body, the mind, and the worldview. Right here, this is shock. You get the news. You ignite the stress response. You're headed for every single stress-related symptom, illness, condition, disease. Your mind is in a complete state of chaos and overwhelm. You cannot wrap your mind around the information you just learned. This makes no sense. And your worldview has just been shattered. Your worldview is your mental model, the rules that govern you, that prevent chaos. Don't go there. Trust this person. This is how life works, And in one earth-shattering moment or series of moments, every rule you've ever held to be real and true is no longer. The bottom has bottomed out on you, and a new bottom hasn't been formed yet. This is terrifying. But think about it. If the bottom were to bottom out on you, what would you do? You grab hold of anything you could to stay safe and stay alive in that stage 3. Survival instincts emerge. It's the most common, it's most practical out of every stage. How do you, out of all the stages, if you can't help me, get out of my way. How do I survive this experience? Where do I go? Who can I trust? How do I feed my kids? Right? Stage 3, though, by far, hands down, is the most common place we get stuck. And here's why. Most people that are stuck right now in stage 3. Here's why. Once you've figured out how to survive your experience, because it feels so much better than the shock and trauma of where you just came from, you think it's good. And because you don't know there's anywhere else to go, you don't know there's a stage 4 or stage 5, transformation doesn't even begin until stage 4. But because you don't know there's anywhere else to go, well, you start planting roots here. You're not supposed to, but you don't know that. And 4 things happen. The first thing is you start getting all these small self benefits from being here. You get to be right. You get your story. You get someone to blame. You get a target for your anger. You get sympathy from everybody you tell your story to. You don't have to do the hard work of learning to trust again. Can I trust you? Should I trust you? Forget it. I'm not going to trust anybody. So you plant deeper roots. You're not supposed to, but you don't know that. And now because you're here longer than you should be, the mind starts doing things like, well, maybe I deserved it. Maybe I'm not all there. Maybe that's, maybe that. So you plant deeper roots. Again, you're not supposed to, but you don't know that. Now, because these are the thoughts you're thinking, well, this is the energy you're putting out. And like energy attracts like energy. So now you're calling situations and circumstances and relationships towards you to confirm, yep, this is where you belong, right? The misery loves company crowd. They come around now too. It gets worse, but I'll get you out of here. Because it feels so bad, but you don't know there's anywhere else to go, right? You don't know there's a stage 4, stage 5. You're like, how do I get through my day? So you resign yourself. You're like, this stinks, but I have to find a way to be okay with this. So right here You start using food, drugs, alcohol, work, TV, keeping busy, whatever you can do to numb, avoid, and distract yourself from this painful place. So think about it. You do that for a day, a week, a month. Now it's a habit, a year, 10 years, 20 years. And I can see someone 20 years out and say, that drinking you're doing, or that emotional eating you're doing, that numbing in front of the TV, do you think that has anything to do with your betrayal? And they would look at me like I'm crazy and say it happened 20 years ago. All they did was put themselves in stage 3 and stay there. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And so I found it so crazy. So while trust again maps out all 5 stages, everybody was getting stuck in stage 3. So from hardened to healed is just for those people in stage 3. I'm coming for you, stage 3, right here in from hardened to healed. Anyway, if you're willing, willingness is a big word here. If you're willing to let go of all those small self benefits, everything you were getting from being in stage 3, you can grieve, mourn the loss, a bunch of things. You move to stage 4. Stage 4 is finding and adjusting to a new normal. So here's where you acknowledge, I can't undo what happened, but I control what I do with it. Right there in that decision, you're turning down the stress response. You're not healing just yet, but you stop the massive damage you were creating in stages 2 and stage 3. Stage 4 is like if you've ever moved. If you've ever moved to a new house, office, condo, apartment, whatever, like all your stuff isn't there. It's not quite cozy yet, but it's going to be okay. Stage 4 feels like that. Like it's like, okay, here we go. This new adventure. I'm not quite sure how it's going to look, but it's going to be okay. But this is what I found really interesting about stage 4. If you were to move, you don't take everything with you, right? Like you don't take the things that don't represent who you want to be when you're in this new space. And what I found was if your friends weren't there for you, you've outgrown them right here. You don't take them with you. And people say to me all the time, what the heck? I've had these friends 10, 20, 30 years. Is it me? Yes, it is. You're undergoing a transformation. And if they don't rise, they don't come. Very common to outgrow friendships. Like we're doing this right here in stage 4. When you've settled into this new space, you've made it cozy, you've made it mentally, you've made it home, you move into the 5th most beautiful stage. And this is healing, rebirth, and a new worldview. The body starts to heal. Self-love, self-care, eating well, exercise. You didn't have the bandwidth for that before. You were surviving. Now you do. Your mind is healing. You're making new rules. You're making new boundaries based on the road you just traveled. And we have a new worldview based on everything we see so clearly now. And the 4 legs of that table, right in the beginning, it was all about the physical and the mental. By this point, we're solidly grounded because we're focused on the emotional and the spiritual too. Those are the 5 stages.
Oh my gosh. Wow. The beauty of my show, right, is I get to take notes the entire time and I get to go back and watch this and relearn. And so, Doctor, thank you. I had no idea. And that's so true. We oftentimes get stuck in that 3rd stage. We're stuck in, I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody. I don't need any healing. I'm fine. I don't need a therapist. I'm okay. Because what appears is I'm doing better. And that's not necessarily true.
Not at all.
Not always true.
And I'll tell you something else, Marcus. When you said, I don't need a therapist, we have so many people coming into the PBT Institute with therapy trauma. And here's why. First of all, and I'm a psychologist, but I'm a coach first. If that therapist isn't highly skilled in betrayal, it does more harm than good. And if anything is going to have you glued to stage 3, cemented to stage 3, it's going over your story endlessly without a plan to move it forward. So I'm not suggesting that all therapists do this, but we have a lot of therapists, a lot of people who come into the Institute saying, I've been talking about my story for years now, and they can't even imagine anything else because that's all they've been doing. The whole idea, that stage 3, yeah, we know your story, but what are we going to do with it so you can move forward? Has to be forward moving. All of our coaches, all of our practitioners in the Institute and the ones certified who aren't, they know the whole idea is every single time you meet with somebody, what stage are they in and how can you move them even 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree, 1 degree, because there are these mapped out, there is that roadmap. How can we move you from stage 3 to stage 4 to stage 5 and beyond?
I love that. And that is so necessary. You are dealing with the underlying issues, the core issues, and what you said earlier. It doesn't necessarily have to be something recent. It can be something buried. It can be something you've been dealing with for years, or thought you were dealing with for years. And you don't know where it stems from. But when you get that breakthrough, when your licensed coaches and therapists and counselors at the Institute help you discover what that is, it can be transformational. And so I applaud the great work you do. It is so necessary. What can readers expect? You dropped so many nuggets. What can readers expect? How long did it take you to complete the book?
Which one? From Hardened to Healed or from
Hardened
Trust
to Healed?
Again? You know, for me, writing books, that's the easy part. It's like I just have it in my head. I just have to get it out and share it. So the books for me don't take long to write. But I really didn't think, I thought Trust Again was going to be my last book, because it has the 5 stages. It has the 3 discoveries. It has my own story in there, my study participant stories in there. But when I saw that everybody was just landing in stage 3 and staying there, I was like, no, we need From Hardened to Healed. So you bothered going through your experience. You owe it to yourself to move through the stages.
Ooh. Doctor, you've shared so many nuggets today. You've shared so many gems today. What advice would you give to that young man, that young woman out in the audience who's dealing with betrayal right now?
Yeah.
We can't necessarily tell what stage they're in. What nugget, what advice would you say they can take, the actionable step they can take today to start that process?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I would acknowledge, I know that pain. It's a pain like no other. This is the person that gave you that sense of safety and security. So this is the very person who shattered your sense of safety and security. It's traumatizing. I get it. I didn't do one thing that anybody couldn't do. You owe it to yourself to move through the stages. There is a version of you that will blow your mind, that is so strong, so healthy, so confident, so healed, waiting for you in stage 5. Go get it.
I have to look at myself. This is inner work. This is inner work for me. You guys got to connect. Doctor, how can we connect with you? How can we learn more? And how can we continue to grow with you?
Yeah, thank you. Well, everything is at the PBT, as in Post Betrayal Transformation, thepbtinstitute.com. And in fact, we are actually getting ready to do our 5-day Trust Again intensive. It's like the 6th time I've done that. And day 1, we're going to show you where trust was originally shattered so you can heal it at the roots. So it's something I keep bringing back and we've had people who do it 3, 4, 5 times. They just get so much out of it. So don't stay stuck. It's 5 days. Dip your toe in so you can see, let's see if I can deal with her for 5 days. And you'll see, let's get your trust back. Let's get, trust is so foundational. We have to rebuild it at the roots. So let's start with getting trust back, and you'll feel so much better. But everything is at thepbtinstitute.com.
And what do you recommend? Should I go alone? Should I bring my partner? Who can I bring with me? What do you recommend?
Yeah, this is a solo journey, because here's the thing. Like I said, I showed you before, if you're so committed to this person, if this person doesn't want to change, it's going to sabotage you. So you go into this saying, I am doing the work to heal. Now, if they want to join you and support you, that's wonderful. But this is a journey to healing. This is the time where you have to heal you. You have to heal everything possible. It's like Legos, like I have 4 kids. When they were young, they loved Legos, right? So there's this huge Lego structure, and now the whole thing is destroyed. When you're healing from betrayal, you are looking at each piece of Lego. It's like you say, I don't want to use that one again. I want to use this. I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this. And you create something that's deliberate and intentional and based on who you want to become.
Oh my gosh, that was a great acknowledgement. I got a imagery of a Lego that I stepped on, but that's not the imagery you were going for. So please ignore me. But connect. Doctor, thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for sharing so many nuggets today on the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. You are incredible. I want to say this to you publicly. Don't ever quit. We need you. We need what you're doing and the great work. You're changing lives every day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's people like you that give people like me a voice. So thank you.
And your voice needs to be heard. Thank you so much. You are incredible. That is thepbinstitute.com, y'all, for my audio list. PBT, PBT, Papa Bravo Tango, for my military folks that watch the show.
Or Post Betrayal Transformation, thepbtinstitute.com.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And thank you, my audience, for tuning in to the Gentleman Style Podcast Show. I hope this helps. I hope this takes you to the next level and begin the healing process. No matter where you are, as long as you take action today and get started today, you can transform and get to stage 5. So, like I always, we got to let her go. She has many more lives to change and many more families and relationships and people to help. We got to let her go. But like I always end every show, take care of your friends, take care of your family, and always take care of business. This is Marcus Norman of Gentleman Style Podcast Show and Dr. Debbie Silber, changing the world, one family, one household at a time. Love you guys. Bye.